and welcome back to Tales of Symphonia. I think we're still doing a little bit of side quest here, so we can continue our conversation from last time. I'll let you start because you said you actually had something you wanted to go off, right, John?
Yeah, I think because the reading this Sunday was about the fishers of men, and we'd had some kind of group discussion. It was on that, and then a second reading from an important um, figure. He's a servant of God, and it was something along the lines of the great. We fail the Catholic Church every time we
Mm-hmm.
say that all religions are equal, or that just about anyone can get to heaven if they're good enough, or everyone has a chance to get there, and that if they just go their own ways and they're a good enough person, they'll be fine. But that throws all the sacraments and the doctrines. It throws all of it out the window to just say, hey, even if you're not a part of this, you're good. Because then what's the point? Like, if we believe that we have the true presence of Christ, and without the true presence of Christ, or confession, or the sacraments, if we believe you don't have these things, then you won't get to heaven or you won't obtain eternal life, then why lie to people and say, oh, if you don't have it, you're fine?
Right.
Like, then what's the point of having them in the first place? So he bluntly in it said we either have to say, if it's not the Catholic faith, it's either false or only partially true. So if you're not a part of the Catholic faith, it's partially true or completely false, i.e. Satanism. That is completely false. There is no redeemable factors of it. But Judaism and Islam, partially true. They have aspects that are good. They worship the same Abrahamic God. They do it in different ways that aren't that we don't accept or we don't think are the best ways. But at the same time, they're still venerating the God of Abraham. And same with their Protestant brothers and sisters. It's not the full truth, but it's still partial truth, and they're worshiping the same God, and they also accept Jesus as their Savior and the Messiah. They're really close. They're almost there. They just need a couple more things, and they're good.
Exactly. Yep.
But we
Yeah.
can't go to people and say, "Oh, you believe in Vishnu and the Hindu deities. Oh, that's fine. Don't worry about it. You're gonna get to heaven anyway."
Right.
Or you're a Buddhist. Oh, as long as you're a good person, you're fine. You don't need anything else. No, you need to. You need to say there's good aspects of your religion. There's aspects of your religion that are good and help people, but you need more than that. You need to actually know who Jesus is, accept him as your savior, is get involved with this. Yeah, basically that.
Yep, you're exactly right. Here's the joke weapons, but we'll just take a break because it's like serious. But here's the joke weapons. So it's like a paper fan for Lloyd, and I don't think I have enough money for it. Yeah, you don't have enough money. A tambourine for Colette. And basically, it's just showing. I think I'm just showing the sheer jump in attack stats for them. That's for Genus, and that jumps almost 200. But yeah, I was gonna say deck brush for Rain, money bag for Sheena, toy dagger, and baseball bat for Zelos. I can't remember what Regal and Persea get, but it's Persea gets a fake, a plastic hammer. So all that stuff. But yeah, back to what we were talking about before. Sorry. It's like, yeah. So yeah, there's that, and then yeah, I don't know why that's considered a joke weapon, considering that actually looks like a decent weapon. Anyway, one. Yeah, basically these were all joke weapons, so it was interesting to see what joke weapons they get and how they all typically were like 200 attack higher than anything else we previously had.
And like you said, they're good into late. Like, is there anything better than them other than the Devil's Arms?
Yes and no, I would say. Like, there is a weapon that we get from a super boss later that happens to be better, and it's for Lloyd. That happens to be better in one aspect and not the other. So, like, slash is better, but not thrust.
Oh, yeah, it's sort of like, I guess, how they balance a lot of weapons in different RPGs. They just, some of them do more damage, but they sacrifice them from one thing, but some of them don't do as much damage, but like they hit faster or something like that.
I wonder if it'd be better in the versions after the GameCube version, just because there would happen to be. I think I was just showing the sheer amount of money we had because this was after some grinding.
Weren't they more buggy though, or is that just the PS2 version that was really buggy?
I think you're thinking Steam version.
Steam version was the buggy one?
Yeah.
I say you would have thought it being a remaster, they would have fixed some stuff, but it's a PC port, and PC ports are infamous for being
Bad.
some of the worst ports. Yeah,
It's really weird though, because Namco's really good with their PC ports most of the time.
yeah. Maybe it was a fluke, sort of like who was it that did? What was it? Batman, Arkham Knight.
Yeah. That wasn't a fluke. That's WB.
Have they always had a bad
They-
reputation for PC
they-
ports?
I've never had a problem with the Arkham games except for Arkham Origins, but I think that was more so Arkham Origins than the PC version. If I remember correctly, Mortal Kombat 9 and 10 were alpha ports as
Yeah,
well.
they sound familiar with people getting upset with them.
And I think, what was Injustice was also a bad port, if I remember correctly. So
It's odd. Most of them are. I guess it's a lot of fighting games to
Yeah.
have problems. I mean,
Well,
I'm not a game designer, so maybe there's something more to it. But I would have thought the fighting game wouldn't be too hard to port to the PC.
I have no clue. I would assume so as well, but I'm not sure if that's WB or if that's the people that own Neversoft or whatever it's called, like NeverRealms. I think it's NeverRealms.
Some company like that, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. But it's like, yeah, WB for a while at least had a bad reputation of bad PC ports. I don't know if they do anymore, really.
I think they're doing Shadow of War. So, I mean, that's gotten a lot of flack for microtransactions, but I think people are getting real upset over that for no real reason.
I was gonna say, how is the PC port? Has it even out yet?
No, it comes out somewhere in October, but
Okay.
there's microtransactions, but they're not. It's not like a free-to-play game where they're necessary. This is just stuff that get, like, you pay for it so you can do better in the game. You don't have to, but you can if you want to. But I don't know why people are upset about it, because it's completely optional, and it's not as insulting as Bethesda's, hey, spend $5 for a reskin of your Pip-Boy or
Yeah.
an armor that you can get for free off of the Nexus mods.
Speaking of which, by the way, I haven't heard nearly as much outrage for that as I did for Steam mods.
There is. It's just, I guess you gotta look for it. And
Yeah.
it's mostly gonna be in the Bethesda community.
And that's
People are gonna be saying it's pretty, because it's an insult to their intelligence to
right. And
you
I
can
don't
get
disagree.
all of these mods for free. Like when they released the first, like, I think 5 or 10 or whoever mods, people on like videos said, "Hey, you can get every single one of these
for free.
on Nexus mods for free," and yet you have to buy. And the worst part is, you don't just pay money to get the mod; you have to use points. You have to buy like whatever the Bethesda points are, and then spend those points on it. And the cheapest point pack is like $8. So you have to spend $8 to get the 800 points to now spend on whatever mods you want. And if you want more points, you got to spend another $8 to get more points to spend on mods that you could get off the Nexus for free. It's what makes it so insulting.
I don't mind the concept of paid mods, to be honest. I think the price for them is not good.
That, and you have to get it. They cheat you on it with the whole point system. I think
Yeah.
it would be maybe. I still think it's dumb, but they could have at least made it so that you just buy it straight through Steam. Like, this is a
Yeah.
gun mod; it's 99 cents.
Or
Instead,
something. It's like,
spend $8 to get points so
I
that you
think
can.
didn't Microsoft even drop the Microsoft points when they went to Xbox One?
I was never an Xbox person, so I'm not sure if you could ever use the achievement points or Microsoft points for anything.
No, there was a specific thing, kind of like how the Wii Shop channel had Wii points. There was something similar to the Xbox 360 as well, if I remember
See,
correctly.
I know. I always think that's a stupid thing. They know it's not stupid because they get more money by doing that. But I wish more people would just do the Steam and PlayStation concept, and that's just
Yeah, I was gonna say Nintendo dropped it after Wii, so they don't
Yeah.
do
because it's money grabby. Just do what everyone else does, and that's put a gift card in or your
Yep.
credit card credentials and physically buy the game
Yep.
instead of spending money on points to then use the points to get the game.
Yep.
Because now you're left over with points. It's sort of like iTunes, because iTunes introduced tax, and I never want to use my debit card or credit card on iTunes. So
I'll use
I end
PayPal,
up-
but that's about the extent.
yeah, but I like to go gift cards. Even with Steam, I do gift cards.
Hmm.
But because they have tax now,
Yeah,
I can get a $10 iTunes card, but I can't get a $9.99 album. I have to get a $15 card because of the tax.
yeah.
So I'm always left over with a little extra that I can't use because there's tax I have to pay for at the same time.
Right. I mean,
I
you
was-
could you could buy an episode of My Little Pony. But that's about it.
Or a season, I think. With
A season's way more than that.
I would have figured it would have been cheaper because of how old it is.
Yeah, I just meant like it's not going to be a season's not going to be $5.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's gonna be like I figured it's 10 or 15, but I
Yeah.
can't afford that because if I ever want to get anything, it has to be a $5. It has to be at least account $5 for the tax.
Yeah.
And the worst part is you can't. I don't think you can. There's no cart system, so you can't just put a bunch of songs in the cart and check out. Now you have to pay tax for every single song because you have to play every song individually.
Speaking of iTunes, I'm really upset at crap. What company? Who did Wonderful 101 or Bayonetta?
I actually don't know their company.
I know what they're called, but I'm blanking. Give me 1 second. Like, Platinum Games, that's it. I thought about it before I pulled it up. So basically, the Wonderful 101 soundtrack was only available on iTunes, and they pulled it, like, December of last year, so now I can't actually legally get it.
Yeah, that's where I think it gets odd in terms of soundtracks. I think there's a more borderline with older games that just have there's no way to get the soundtrack, so you figure, well then, if I already own the game, don't I technically own the soundtrack to listen to?
I'd still like to go ahead and buy it, though.
That's the thing, because if you can't get it on CD or MP3 or iTunes or wherever else, then I figure there's no other option. Then,
right. And I mean, I was going to, too. It's like, I don't get... It can't be that much to have an item.
I want to get it on disc because that money goes to the composer instead of them not getting any money, or it goes to...
And that's kind of why I did Sonic Mania, because I'm honestly starting to not like Valve as much lately. Honestly.
What's been with it with Valve, I guess, other than the Half-Life 3 thing?
Mainly the Half-Life 3 thing.
Yeah, everyone was upset about that. They had it and just... I think the argument I'd heard, and I may have said it here like a long time ago whenever we talked about it a couple of times, it was the pressure, and that Half-Life 3 has always been this hyped up thing, and you have to deliver on this hype. Like, it has to match exactly how good and revolutionary Episode 2 was, or Half-Life 2. It has to be perfect. There can't be anything wrong with it. If there's any launch problems, people will give it a terrible score. People are not... No one's patient nowadays for games. If a game is buggy or glitchy on release, it'll get destroyed. And then it isn't later on that everything gets fixed and it's a good game, but no one cares anymore because all people wanted to hear is it's glitchy.
That's kind of an interesting point, because it's like, obviously if a game used to be glitchy, except for PC games, they couldn't be patched for the most part. Like, the only things that I remember is Nintendo for Pokemon did find a glitch for like Ruby and Sapphire that if you sent the cartridges in, they would patch the glitch, and that was like the only...
Oh yeah, and then they send it back.
Yeah, exactly.
I think there was a YouTube video on, it was like a top 10 list of like game-breaking bugs, and I can't remember if Nintendo was one of those. I think it may have been a Zelda title, but they said, like, they found it was like a terribly game-breaking glitch where like it would ruin everything. So they'd send it in, and they would like reinstate the save file for it, and send it back to fix, like patch and everything. So I could do because it was download the thing, say fix it, or download the other half of the game you really put on like Tony Hawk's.
Yeah, if I think I'm understanding you correctly, I'm getting that robot glitch now for you.
Really?
Yeah, so I don't know what's going on, but hopefully we but if I'm basically how you were saying, there was some games that Nintendo was doing that there was stuff like that and they patched. And I don't know of many companies that did do that. It's like I think I'm gonna just, while we hopefully get your microphone fixed, it was probably internet issues. Basically what I'm trying to say is, I kind of understand why people happen to give such a bad score to something when it comes out and it's riddled with bugs, because that used to be unacceptable. But on the other side of that coin, now that it can be fixed, it's really not as big of an issue as it once was.
Yeah, if there's a problem, it'll get patched soon. Unless you're just can release it in a terrible state and the community for you.
Yeah. And that's exactly true. I'm still having a little trouble understanding you, but I'm understanding you enough. So I think the audience should as well, because it's... Sorry, guys. Unfortunately, when there's technical difficulties, and there's not much that can be done about it. But I think we just finally finished restoring Luin, so that. But as you were saying, it's like I'd be fine like if companies or game reviewing companies did a then and now for a review. So they did the initial review, then a month later released what it was like now, or even 2 months if they didn't. Basically, as long as the company's upfront with them during the first month and be like, "Hey, we get that the game's glitchy. We're working on it. Unfortunately, we're going to have to delay it a little bit until 2 months instead of the predicted 1 month." Then it's like, I think that would be a little bit more fair.
It's, honestly, I always say I'd rather a delay than a rushed product. Like P5 had to be delayed I don't know how many times and like years on end. It's okay, like if they did rush it to me 2014.
I think, if I'm understanding, I don't know what it is. I might need to get better internet, and that's something I've been working on, honestly. Katie just got her job, so pretty much once she gets paid, we're working on getting the modem and router replaced and probably upgrading our megabytes, honestly. So it's like, yeah, I think we're almost done with Luin. Basically, I'm trying to keep this flowing, guys, as I'm sure that the eventual internet problems will pass and we'll be able to understand John again here smoothly. I think we're almost done with Luin, actually. So as long as it gets fixed by the time we get to where we're going next, so I'm almost positive it's actual plot time now. But I could be misremembering. We'll find out.
Even if it's get fixed, it's good to do.
It's still doing it, unfortunately.
No.
Like, I don't know what's going on. It's not bad enough, obviously, where we can't understand you, because we have been able to understand you. It's just harder, I guess.
Yeah, harder here.
So I mean that's alright. I don't remember what we're doing here. I think there's one side quest that pretty much happens to be pointless, but I think I came here to do it anyways. Basically, there's a side quest where you can get a book in Lloyd's Lloyd's dwarf dad, so his dad will make him figurines for him, but we have to come here and get the process for it. And we could have gone this last time actually, but it's kind of hard because it's like there's a door in here that you don't initially see because it's kind of once we get back there, because apparently I'm just trying to find it, but there's a door in that room we were just in that isn't always the easiest to see, I would say. And I'll point it out once we get back there.
Yeah.
And I'm just talking to her twice because the guy that's helped us with the summon was named Professor Nova, and apparently, you know, world building, apparently he lives here.
It's also the way that worship got female. No. They replaced the father with moon.
Yeah, with Martel. Unfortunately, you're right. Yeah. Yeah, you're still doing it. I don't know what's going on.
It's weird.
So it's like, you can understand me now, right?
Yeah, it's just Discord.
Do you think we should try after this one? Try something else? Like, we had problems with Skype was the other problem. It's like, Discord.
Everybody hates Skype. It's terrible.
What was that?
It's terrible. Everybody hates Skype.
Yeah. That's why I'm trying to think of if there's really anything else aside from Discord. Well, if this is the only bad episode with stuff like this, guys, that's a good thing. I'm sorry, though, as is, because it's not something we plan on. And as we were talking about earlier, our schedules just don't allow most of the time for reshoots as much as we'd love them to allow time for reshoots. We typically, obviously, if an episode is bad, we will go ahead and can it. We actually worked on our first podcast, and I need to go ahead and script it a little bit better than it was, and we all agreed it wasn't very great, so we canned it. So that's, yeah, unfortunately. But basically what the point of it was that we'd eventually like to cover bigger topics, and we will eventually. We just need to be focused, I guess, because the other problem for that was we were trying to do a game at the same time. just so as to have something in the background, and we've decided that we'll still do that, but it'll be just like some game in the background that we decide to put on. We won't be talking at the same time during it, just so we don't happen to get so distracted, I guess. So, yeah. Sorry, I'm checking some other things because it's like, nope. The Guild Wars 2 expansion came out 2 days ago, and I haven't been able to play that, so that feels both good and bad because Guild Wars 2 is nowhere near as good as Guild Wars 1. But I'd still like to know where the story's going for Guild Wars 2, I guess. I guess I'll pick that up eventually. It just is weird because it's like I don't have money for the expansion at the moment, but it's like every Guild Wars game since I found out about Guild Wars I've gotten at launch day. So it's just really weird to not pick it up on launch day anymore, I guess. The circle's been broken! But I'll probably happen to pick it up here shortly, honestly. Oh, yep, here we go. Now we're talking about the little rabbit pellets that we can transform into figurines. And then I think we're finally back to plot. It's about time. So, just got this episode to go, and then it is back to plot. And we've been able to sell the pellets. They don't sell for much, just because they don't do much aside from this, but
Yeah.
they've been better than nothing. I think I can hear you better now.
Oh, is it decided it wants to work?
Yeah, it's decided it's wanted to work, so...
Oh, thank you.
So I was gonna say, yeah. Basically, while you were working on that, I was talking about how we scrapped our first podcast, and we're gonna do a little bit more planning into it.
Yeah, we'll have something off in the. We won't be doing anything in the background, but
Yeah,
we'll have
exactly.
like for something.
Exactly. Yeah, like I'll just record something else, and then we'll talk about. I don't know. Maybe I don't know, something. You know what I mean? Probably like some Team Fortress 2 footage. Turn that down, and then just have us talking over it.
Yeah, or do what I think Catholic Gamer did, the one where he talked for like half an hour over some Civ gameplay.
Yeah, that was good. I mean, I could do XCOM as well, but yeah.
Yeah,
Man,
because it's serene. There isn't too much going on, so there's not much. You're like,
Mhm.
you're not trying to pay attention to the gameplay while you're trying to hear them
Right.
speak. I guess what was good about Civ is just so you can
Relax.
lose yourself doing it, and it's
Yeah.
just looking at a bunch of numbers and moving stuff around instead of.
And that's why I was kind of trying to get James to do that one. I think if we'd done Civ, it would have been okay, but that's okay too. You know, it's all right.
Yeah, it reminds me of forever ago when we'd have occasional. We'd spend like a weekend night or something playing Civ for a bit, up until like midnight or so.
I want to do that again. I mean, I'd like to do that with Michael, but I haven't seen him in a while. I think he's really busy with school again.
Yeah, he's got a lot on his plate that he's working on, so hopefully
Yeah.
whenever he's on break or
Yeah.
yeah.
Which is unfortunate because it's like it's really nice to hang out with him, and then, you know.
Yeah, he's got
I
to
just-
work. I guess because he's getting into something that's going to require a lot of work. Like
I
a lot of.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. I was just saying he's whatever he's involved in takes a lot of work, so it's
Yeah.
understandable.
I just hope everything's all right with him. Is my main concern, I guess, because it's like, as I said, we haven't heard from him in a while. But we get it. If you're trying to be a lawyer, so
Yeah, he's studying to be a lawyer. So that's it. That's a lot of work he's got to do. I
yes, it is.
probably
As
doesn't
long-
have a lot of time.
As long as he's not going to be a shock.
Oh yeah, I don't even I think you mean like a loan shark, right?
Sharks basically prey off of the lowest common denominator for cases, if I remember correctly.
Oh, you mean like an ambulance chaser?
Kind of stuff like that, yeah. Let me see. Hold on. Lawyer shark. Let me see.
Because I've actually never heard that term. I think of loan sharks, but never like shark lawyers or lawyer sharks.
There's a long article that's a couple paragraphs long. Let me see if I can sum it up. Yeah, it's too long. Basically, bottom feeders because they go for whatever they can get. So I think you're kind of right.
Yeah.
Scum of
Well,
society.
yeah, I think that's
Basically,
what-
they're described as the scum of society, which I can't really agree with that.
I guess it's they're going after because they're called ambulance chasers, I guess, because they profit off of other people's misery
Right.
in a sense, maybe.
That might be what the problem is.
Because someone's like, oh wow, he a civil suit, or like, oh wow, he got hit by a car. I'll gladly help you out there. Let me help you out, and here's my
Card.
here's my card, here's my business plan. This is how much it's gonna cost. But don't worry about paying until the case is over. Then you're gonna get hit with the legal fees.
Exactly, yeah. Unfortunately.
And that's what a lot of these is unfortunate about so many of these court cases that happen to so many of these poor people. Like, they're big publicized court cases or lawsuits, and some of these people just can't afford it, even with donations, because it costs like tens of thousands.
costs
Some
a
cases it was like
lot.
hundreds of thousands. Yeah,
Yeah.
it costs so much money just to get legal counseling. It's
Really does.
insane.
By the way, I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I don't know. You're exactly right. I was gonna say something, and I think I'm incorrect. So.
What would it
Yeah,
be?
it's just.
What were you about to say?
I was gonna say it was based for the game. I was gonna say I thought that if you had to do one pellet at a time, but I was obviously wrong since I did 6. So.
Wait, you're making figures of different characters?
That's what the figurines do.
That's
They're not-
creepy.
Yeah,
It's
it
like
is.
they're like voodoo dolls.
Yep. It's they call it a figurine book, but it's basically I don't know if I show it or not, but there's basically an enemy book as well, and you can use that for to show like all the enemy models as well. It's just they didn't have like an NPC book.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically I thought for a while I thought you could only do one at a time, because I thought that the more pellets you did, the more likely chance you'd get of something you didn't have. But no, you just throw them all in and you're good. Hi, Marble.
It's the Pope. It's all. I'm still not used to the fact that it just says Pope,
Right?
because my immediate thought is this cheery balling old guy in white, instead of that, I don't know,
Me, by the way.
40s, 50s looking guy in a greenish ornate robe with a
Right?
crook or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Rook.
Whatever. Exactly. I don't know. I get exactly what you're talking about, though. I do find it weird. This is like one of the few characters where if you actually talk to him, it actually switches you to a certain character.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe they just didn't have the dialogue to have him talking to different characters.
Well, the dialogue doesn't change for other characters most of the time, so that's why I guess it's just supposed to be specifically Lloyd.
Yeah, as if only he's allowed in there or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't get it either. It's just
kind
kind
of
of exactly, yeah. Are we finally going to actual plot?
In the last like minute and a half,
Right? I was gonna say
you'd be ending it on a cliffhanger.
I think I am. I'm pretty sure we're going to plot. So it's a clip. Yeah, we're going to plot because this is where the last summon spirit is. Oh, not fully cliffhanger though. We're at least going inside.
Yeah, we'll probably go inside, have like a short, like
Cutscene.
minute cutscene, and
Yeah.
then
I think you're right because I think this is one of the few times. Oh no, it's not. But there is a really amusing skit coming up actually. Eventually.
have we been here before?
Yeah, this was where we got the book that cured people. Oh, here we go. Here's something that's really interesting. The doors and such have all been opened. We opened them the last time we were here. That's where we got the Book of Miracles, but still a pain to work all the way up again. What do you have in mind? Why can't we fly to the roof with the Rayards? That's actually... but here you go, breaking the fourth wall. Why couldn't they just give us a quick jump option?
But doesn't help. Why couldn't they just fly to the top?
Or give us a quick jump option.
Yeah, it's just put a portal there that.
Yeah, it's like... I don't know why they it's funny that they made a joke about it, but at the same
Instead
time,
of programming a quick jump, they programmed a conversation where they mentioned, "Hey, we could have put a quick jump here, but we're not
Right.
going to."
Exactly, yeah. As I said, it was funny, but at the same time, I'll take my quick jump.
Yeah, it's funny at our expense.
Yeah, pretty much. Alright, I guess we'll find out more stuff that's funny at our expense next time. Until then, guys, Pax et bonum. Oh man, I really wish that hadn't messed up recording, but I think we should